My name's Burita Durward, and I'm the founder and president of Sweet Smile Society. Sweet Smile Society is a global nonprofit organization that aids local and international children and families in need. Since the inception of Sweet Smile Society and my first trip to Mexico, it's been 15 years. When I was on vacation in Mexico, and I saw some stuff that reminded me of my childhood, and it really hit home. And so when we came home, I started doing some research just on children's homes and orphanages. And I found Ciudad de Angeles, which is a City of Angels in Cozumel. And they specifically aid children that have been rescued from exploitation, abuse, and abandonment. And I just felt this need to go.
I actually remember sitting on the couch with her, and she was talking about how much she wanted to give back and that she didn't really know what to do, but it was a passion that she had, and she was really nervous about it. I was trying to encourage her, like, go for it, do what you need to do, you know, if there's something in your heart you want to go for. And yeah, she really did.
Sweet Smile Society is a dream. It's a dream of mine. And someone pretty special to me once told me, how big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail? I think about my first trip to City of Angels in Cozumel. I wasn't even really sure what I should be bringing or what they were needing, but we brought down 500 pounds of supplies to the orphanage.
My ex-husband and I had been putting money aside, wanting to donate it to something special. We had $1,000 in the bank account, and I was sitting with Burita, and she said, I'm $1,000 short for this trip. I need to buy this milk for these kids, and I need to get $1,000. And it was like kismet, it was God. It was, you know, that amazing experience where it all comes together. And we were like, we have this money just sitting here, and it's the exact amount that she was looking for. So we ended up making the first donation. And then she came back and she showed us, you know, the pallets of milk that were bought and how much of an impact that made. But it was also really beautiful, the impact that I think it made on her, and just getting that first donation and knowing that people that were around her were willing to support her.
When I came back, I knew that I needed to keep going. I knew that there was such a huge need. They don't have the same safety nets that we have here in Canada. There's no government funding. The orphanages simply exist off of the kindness and generosity of visitors, of sponsors. And they have so little, and they're so grateful.
It never really hits you till you're actually there. And if I can be honest, I was a little bit nervous when I first went down because my mom had been such a great role model for them over the years, and like they've taken after her. And I was thinking I have to be a good role model too. So I didn't want to like let them down in a way. But all of that feeling went away when I first met them at the orphanage. They were so welcoming, and they were so cute, and they were all giving me a big hug.
In 2016, we were able to raise enough funds to finish the 5th house at Ciudad de Angeles as well, which allowed another 7 children to call City of Angels home.
I think the larger surprise for me with how the organization has gone is it all started in Cozumel, and then it went to Huatulco, and now it's in Cuba and Colombia as well. Like, she's just, you know, taking on the world here as best she can.
We were doing a family vacation, and Burita said, can we go to an orphanage in Cuba? And I have always been hesitant to go to orphanages. I'd never been to an orphanage in Mexico because I felt like that would be very emotionally hard for me. And so when she wanted to go to this orphanage in Cuba, I was really nervous. But the family got together, we put a bunch of toys and supplies, packed them up, right? Went down and saw the kids, and I Oh man, I'm gonna cry. I immediately knew that was something amazing. And to see the conditions that they were living in and how happy the kids were anyway, because they had people who were taking care of them that loved them. So when you're an orphan in an orphanage, there's no one giving money to help. So when we showed up with this food, there were kids that were jumping up and down because they had a can of mushrooms, literally a can of mushrooms, and the kids were jumping up and down and screaming and so happy. We bought pork, and the man who was running it said, well, we're gonna have to change the menu because we've never had pork before.
A few of the projects that kind of stand out in my mind is in 2015, we were able to get City of Angels, Ciudad de Angeles, and Cozumel connected to city sewage, which was huge. The septic was backing up into the homes, and we were able to raise $20,000 that went towards getting the orphanage connected to city sewage. That was a huge accomplishment.
Once she puts her mind to something, nothing stops her, especially where the kids are concerned, right? If there's a house that needs to be built or a wing that needs to be added on or whatever the project is, she's doing the painting or she's doing the tiling, and she's not just sitting back and watching everybody else do it. She's right in there, and nothing's going to stop her if she decides that that's the thing that's going to get built this time.
My wife's parents had a place in Huatulco, Mexico, and Burita actually came down because she was trying to start something new, which was basically building homes for families, rather than having kids in orphanages, building homes for families to try and have families would support other families. And so Burita actually went on one of those trips to Huatulco, did a bit of exploratory travel, and decided at that point that was a place that she wanted to try this.
In 2017, we began a new project, which is incredibly special to me. It's the Family Preservation-Orphanage Prevention Project in Huatulco, Mexico. And what's fantastic about this project is if you're Indigenous to that specific area of Mexico, through the Huatulco government's Land Grant Act, you'll be awarded with a small piece of raw land. The family's investment is sweat equity. It's about $69 Canadian to get the record of title transferred into their name. But it's also the second poorest area of all of Mexico. So this land predominantly just stays raw land. When I first met the Hernandez family, I was welcomed to their home, and their home was literally smaller than the front space of my store. It was just a room. 5 people lived in that room, and they shared a bathroom with 12 other families. And they were some of the most beautiful people I had ever met in my life.
The one year when we were down, they'd already built the main floor of the home for Pablo and his family. And we were just going down to see if we could help. And they were getting ready to build a second story onto that home. Met another Canadian down there, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to help put this house together." So he and I actually went, and we joked around that we became the Mexican bulldozers. We carried buckets of gravel on our shoulders up to the workers who were making cement to put the house together and lay bricks.
It took about 4.5 months for us to finish their home. They invested more than 800 hours of sweat equity. But when I went to Huatulco to help them move into their new home, and I gave Rosita the keys to her home, just the way she held those keys and closed her eyes and started crying, for me, that moment is probably one of the most impactful moments for me in the last 15 years.
Just their gratitude for having a home built for them. Watching them give back to their community as well, because they actually became participants in helping with the next homes.
Well, to me, I have to say all in English, thank you, Burita, and thank you for the people behind this to make our dreams come true. And beyond with you, we so really appreciate that. We don't have no word to say thank you.
What's fantastic about the Family Preservation-Orphanage Prevention Project is when families own their own homes, they gain the financial independence and stability they need for a better future. There's so much land through the Huatulco government's Land Grant Act to be given to Indigenous individuals that live in the area. I have a dream, and that is to maybe one day create a community of 25 plus homes. We've completed 5 to date, and those families now have a safe environment to raise their children in.
I remember when I first started fundraising, it was a little bit easier because I was helping people that were indigenous to the land in Huatulco, Mexico, so we could get the money for the home and then it was done. But with the Mir family, they weren't indigenous to the land, so we actually had to raise the money for the land and for the home. And after I think over a year of fundraising and this beautiful community helping us, I think I raised 50,000 pesos to get the land, and in Canadian dollars, I think that's like $3,384.
This is literally Sweet Smile Society's international project. This project is funded 100% from raising funds from Valentines for Mexico. I came back and I had this vision, this dream of Valentines for Mexico, putting on a gala. And I was listening to my internal chatter a little bit too much, and I didn't think that I could do it. And one of my best friends, Michelle Antonation, she said to me, "Well, why can't you do it?" And then I remembered the special soul that said to me, "How big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?" And I just thought, you know what? Let's do it. Like the very first Valentines for Mexico, it was really small. It was beautiful. The whole room was filled with love, but not only loved, but supported. They wanted to be part of gifting these children and families in need.
The event is something special. When you come in, you realize that everything that's happening in that room isn't for the people in that room, it's for the children around the world.
And it raises a lot of money for a lot of people, so it's a really great thing. Britta's done some amazing work in our community, obviously. She does a lot here as well, not just outside of Canada.
What's cool about it is that she can't do any of this without everybody else. And she knows that. And she really makes people feel special. And I think that's why it's been so successful and it's grown so much, because this is not like her thing. She really, really wants to make it our thing. Even just attending the gala is something to feel proud of, because it's not a party. It's an event that helps children in need.
All the individuals and businesses that have donated, not only have they created a safe and healthy environment for these children and families in need, but they've helped me find my magic and realize that I'm worthy of being loved as well. And for that, I'm extremely grateful.
So we got a call from Britta asking us to sponsor her event and explain to us what she was doing. And we absolutely loved what she was doing, so we got involved. It's a check I don't mind to write every year. And I hope that we get to keep writing those checks for many years to come. And, Britta will call me and say, hey, we want to buy new mattresses for the kids. Or, we need to do a funeral at the thing and they need this amount of money. It's not very often we get to write a check and know what we're buying. So Britta will say, hey, we're gonna buy mattresses. And then I get pictures of Britta buying mattresses. And I get pictures of mattresses being dropped off a boat or being picked up at an airport. And then I get pictures of kids freaking out over their new mattresses. And it's just so heartwarming. I get to share it with all of our staff, and our staff are very excited about it. And yeah, it really makes everybody feel good.
When you're putting it into Sweet Smiles, that money's going to get put to use as best it possibly can.
So to date, since the inception of Sweet Smile Society, in the last 15 years, we've raised $356,000.
Britta is a visionary, without question. She's so good at bringing people together to facilitate change, I would say, and raise money, truthfully, for a lot of different causes.
I know when Britta calls and I answer the phone, Brita goes, hey, I'm just gonna keep you real quick. And 45 minutes later when I get off the phone, she's brightened my day and I can just go on with a big smile on my face. And just one of the most lovely people you'll ever meet.
Well, she's strong, she's dedicated, and she's a beautiful soul. She is one of the strongest female role models I have in my life, and I always look up to her, whether it comes with anything. And I'm really happy that she's able to be there too for the kids in Mexico and Cuba and Colombia, because everyone needs someone like that.
I feel so incredibly loved, and that love just pushes me to dream even bigger.
Brita can't do this alone. Every single person matters, and every person who is part of it, even in the smallest way, should feel like they've made a difference, because they have.
I take for granted all the stuff that we have here in Canada, and when you really get to see what they don't have there, it just breaks your heart. And if we can give them just a little bit of what we have, then, the world's just that much of a better place.
We have been able to literally change the course of history for children who have been abused, abandoned, families living in small rooms, sharing a bathroom with multiple other families. That love, that kindness, that generosity has changed their lives forever.